Hi everyone, myself Dr. K.Sumathi, Associate Professor, Department of Commerce. Today we will discuss about bank account. So first we will see about what is meant by business of banking companies. A bank deals in money, it buys and sells money in the same way as a trader buys goods for resale at a profit. It buys money from depositor and sells it to the borrowers. Section 6 of the Banking Regulation Act contains a detailed list of the forms of business a banking company may carry on in addition to its banking business. So, non-performing asset. So, first of all, we discuss about classification of bank assets. In the classification of bank assets, they are classified into two types. First one, performing asset. Second one, non-performing asset. Any asset which generate income is called performing asset. An asset becomes non-performing when it's created to generate income for a bank. This happens when interest or installment of principal or both are not received on due dates and they delayed exit a stipulated time. So this is called non-performing asset. So in the non-performing asset are to be determined on borrower basis and not on the basis of each kind of advances separately. So if an advance of one kind of particular borrower becomes NPA, all other advances to him should be considered as a non-performing asset. It is the usual practice to determine the status of different advances on the balance sheet date. So the latest development regarding NPA is that RBI has instructed all the commercial banks to classify from 1st April 1994 an advance as NPA if it is overdue or out of order for 90 days instead of 180 days. In fact, the 90 days limit is the international practice. So next we will see about the provision for NPA. So in provision for NPA, for the purpose of making provision for non-performing asset, different advances of a bank are classified into 4 categories with variable provisions. Now we will discuss about the categories. First one, standard asset. So standard asset, it refers to the asset which do not pose any problems and which do not carry more than normal risk attached to the business. However, for the year ending 31st 3, the banks are required to create a provision of 0.25% on standard asset, also on global loan portfolio basis and not a domestic advance alone. So in standard asset, the provision we will create 0.25%. And next one is substandard asset. In substandard asset, with the effect from 31st 3 2001, a substandard asset is one which has been classified as NPA for a period not exceeding 18 months. This is no promise of recovering the dues in full, having regard the values of the security or current net worth of the borrower. Hence, the possibility of loan is releasing such debts. The term loan in respect of which installment of principal are overdue for more than 1 year are treated as a substandard asset. In case of all substandard asset, a general provision of 10% is to be made on total outstanding amount. The next one is doubtful asset. So doubtful asset means with the effect from 31st 3 2001, an asset is to be classified as doubtful if it has remained NPA for a period of exceeding 18 months. These assets are so weak that their collection or liquidation are in full considered as highly improbable. A loan classified as doubtful has all the weakness make collection or liquidations in full highly questionable on the basis of currently known facts. There are 2 components for provision in the doubtful debts. First one is to extend the debt is not covered by reliable value of the security, 100% provision is to be made. The second one is in addition to the above, for the secured portion of the doubtful asset, provision is required to be made between 20% and 50% depending upon the period of which the asset has to be remained doubtful asset. So up to 1 year, the percentage of provision is 20%, and more than 1 year, but up to 3 years, 30%, and above 3 years, 50%, we need to create the provision. And the last one is loss asset. So loss asset are those which have been identified by the bank or internal auditor or the RBI inspection, but the amount has been written for wholly or partly. These assets are uncollectible and are such little value that is not desirable to show them as bank asset through they have some salvage or recovery value. So 100% provision is required for the loss asset. Now we will discuss about one question. On 31st March 1998, Bharat Commercial Bank finds its advances classified as follows. In this problem, the standard asset and substandard asset and doubtful asset secured 1 year and 1 year to 3 years and more than 3 years, and loss asset also given. So we need to calculate the amount of provision to be made by the bank against the above mentioned advances. The solution: so standard asset, so 14,91,300 value, so we need to create the provision 0.25%. so the provision is 3,728. So next we need to create substandard asset. So the amount is 92,800. So we need to create the provision 10%. The provision is 9,280. And the next one is doubtful asset. So the doubtful asset is secured. So if secured means we need to create 1 year 20%, 3 year 30%, and more than 3 years we need to create 50% of the provision. And last one is loss asset. So the value is 10,350. So we need to create a provision is 100%. So the provision is 10,350. So the total provision is required 36,472.